And we're back as always, back for another episode. So much fun to learn. Make sure you like and subscribe. Check us out at Universal Accounting Center. And here's the thing. Today we're going to talk about trust. Why business owners buy you before they buy your service. Most accountants believe clients hire the most qualified professional. Well, they don't, right? If that were true, every CPA with 20 years of experience would have a waiting list. Every tax professional with perfect credentials would be booked solid. Every bookkeeper who knew debits and credits better than anyone else would be rich, right? Yet we see the opposite happen every day. A less experienced accountant wins the client. A new advisor closes the engagement. A less credentialed consultant gets hired over the industry veteran. Why? Because human beings do not make decisions based solely on logic. They justify decisions with logic. They make decisions emotionally. Then they look for evidence to support what they've already decided. So today I'm going to teach you something that most accountants never learn, something most sales trainers don't even understand, something that will completely change the way you think about client acquisition. Because business owners do not buy accounting services. What do they buy? Certainty. They buy confidence. They buy trust. And if you understand how trust is actually built, you'll never look at a sales conversation the same way again. Let's write this down. Make sure you have your pencil and paper and you're taking good notes. My darn foot is itching, right? Look, the first lie accountants tell themselves. The biggest lie in our industry is, if I know enough, clients will come. Well, how's that working out for you, right? Look, knowledge is important, but competence matters. Technical skill matters, but competence is just assumed because of the title. Let me explain. Imagine if you need heart surgery, okay? You meet two surgeons. The first surgeon immediately starts explaining medical terminology, procedures, and technical concepts. The second surgeon looks you in the eye and says, "Hey, Nathan, I understand you're scared. Here's exactly what's going to happen. Here's exactly what recovery looks like. Here's why I know you're going to get through this." Well, who do you trust? The answer is obvious, because expertise creates respect. Understanding creates trust, and trust closes business. All right? The greatest advisors in the world understand this distinction. And you are an advisor. Think about it. You may be doing tax and bookkeeping. You haven't got the advisory certification yet, but it doesn't matter. But you're still advising someone on their business. Let's go to the next module. The 3 layers of trust. The 3 layers of trust. Every buying decision is filtered through 3 layers. Most accountants only focus on one. Elite advisors master all 3. All right? Layer 1 is personal trust. This is simple. Do I like you? Do I enjoy talking to you? Do I feel understood? Do I feel respected? Business owners are constantly sold every day. Think about it. They're pitched by marketers, vendors, consultants, software companies, recruiters, financial advisors, insurance agents. Everyone wants something, right? They all want something. The moment a business owner feels like they're being worked, the walls go up, right? Trust disappears. People like people who understand them, not people who impress them. And that's why curiosity beats intelligence every single time. Layer 2 is professional trust. Can you actually solve my problem? This is where most accountants live. The credentials, the certifications, the experience, the case studies, the knowledge. It's all important, but this is the mistake. Many professionals try to prove the competence before diagnosing the problem. Imagine walking into a doctor's office before asking what's wrong. He immediately starts prescribing medication, right? You'd run. You'd get out of there. But yet you guys do it every single day. You accountants do it all the time. A prospect says, "Look, I need bookkeeping help," and the accountant immediately starts talking about bookkeeping. Wrong, right? You have to become experts in client situation before you become an expert in their solution. All right? Become experts in the client situation before becoming an expert in their solution. That diagnosis right there, that creates authority. It's not the presentation. All right? Let's go to the next layer. Financial trust. I would say this is the hardest layer, right? Can I trust you with my money? Business owners have been buried before, obviously, right? Think of all the partnerships, the investments, the bad employees, bad accounts, bad vendors. So the prospect's not asking because it works. They know it can work. I mean, accounting's the second oldest trade in the world. They know it works. They want to know, will it work for me? Will you work for me? And those are completely different questions. And if you don't answer that second question, they're not going to buy, right? Let's go to the next module. The hidden fear that every business owner has. Well, here's something important that most salespeople will never pick up, right? The prospect's not afraid of spending money. They're afraid of looking like a fool, right? Think about that. A business owner can lose 10 grand, recover, move on, What hurts is feeling like they made a bad decision. What hurts is explaining to their spouse or their business partner, their team, their investors, their employees, that they made a bad decision. They have to protect their identity far more than their wallet. Look, that's why logic alone rarely closes deals. Trust protects identity. Trust reduces perceived risk. And trust makes action feel safe. All right, let's go to the next module. Title this, Why Business Owners Hide the Real Problem. One of the biggest mistakes accountants make is believing the first problem they hear. The first problem is rarely the real problem. Look, a prospect says, I need bookkeeping. All right, well, maybe. Okay, a prospect says, I need tax help, maybe. Prospect says, I need advisor, maybe. But beneath every stated problem is an emotional problem. So let's go deeper. I need bookkeeping, translation. I'm overwhelmed. I don't trust my numbers. I don't know if I'm profitable. I'm afraid I'm losing control. You see, now we're getting somewhere because people don't buy bookkeeping. They buy clarity. People don't buy your tax preparation. They buy peace of mind, and people don't buy advisory. They buy confidence. All right, elite advisors sell the outcome. Average advisors sell the service. So, look, let's go to the next module. The trust transfer principle. The trust transfer principle. One of the most powerful concepts I've learned is this, okay, that confidence transfers, doubt transfers, fear transfers, certainty transfers. Everything transfers, okay? If you're nervous, the prospect will feel it. If you're uncertain, the prospect will feel it. If you're desperate, the prospect feels it. If you're convicted, the prospect feels it. See, us human beings are emotional mirrors, okay? The prospect often borrows confidence from you. That's why certainty is so beautiful. It's not fake confidence, it's not arrogance, but what it is, and you need to write it down, it's conviction. It's the belief that you can actually help them because you've seen the transformation before, okay? The very next module that we're going to move into is titled Questions That Build Massive Trust. Listen, most accountants ask information questions. Elite advisors ask transformational questions. Elite salespeople ask transformational questions. Information questions gather data. Sometimes you need to download data. But understand that transformational questions create insight. For example, instead of, well, what software are you using? Ask, what impact is this having on your business? Instead of how many employees do you have? Ask what becomes possible once this is solved. Instead of what's your revenue? Where do you want the business to be 12 months from now? Notice what's happening. The conversation moves from facts to vision, and people move emotionally toward their future, not their current situation. Okay? And let's go to the next module. How trust creates premium fees. This is where most professionals get uncomfortable. The highest paid salespeople are rarely the smartest. They're the most trusted. A trusted salesperson can charge premium fees. Yes, you're a salesperson, right? It is what it is. A commodity cannot. Why? Because look, trust reduces perceived risk. When trust goes up, price sensitivity goes down. When trust goes down, price becomes everything. This is why some accountants fight over $200 tax returns while others command thousands for advisory engagements. It's a difference in it's not the difference. The difference isn't the darn technical skill, your skill set, okay? It's the difference in positioning. That's the difference. Let's go to the next module. The evolution of an accountant. The evolution of an accountant. All right, this is where most pros spend their career. All right, your bookkeepers, your tax preparers, compliance providers, reporters, historians. Look, the elite eventually evolve, okay? And what happens is you become a strategic advisor, decision-making partner, profitability consultant, a growth advisor, a trusted confidant, right? All the things that you want to be. The relationship changes completely, and so does the income, because business owners pay far more to prevent problems than they do to record them. So look, at the end of the day, at the highest level, business owners aren't looking for another accountant. What they're looking for is certainty in an uncertain world. They're looking for someone who understands where they are, where they want to go, and how to bridge that gap. The professional who's going to win, right, they're not always the smartest. Look how stupid I am, right, and I'm winning. They're not necessarily the most experienced either. but they are ones who create trust, because when trust exists, resistance disappears. When trust exists, action becomes easier. When trust exists, the client will stop asking how much does it cost, and they will start asking, how do I get started? So remember this, that people buy solutions, people buy outcomes, certainty, but before all of that, they're going to buy trust. So make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.